Good morning, everyone. I hope that everyone's having a great day so far, and I appreciate everyone's time for sitting in on this webinar. It's 10 a.m., so I'm going to go ahead and get started with this presentation. My name is Hideyuki Terashima, and I am an environmental geologist at the Illinois State Water Survey, where we manage our program, wateroperator.org. During today's presentation, I'll be introducing to you what wateroperator.org is, what exactly the website is, how this website is a useful tool for professionals working in the water and wastewater industry, while highlighting public available resources with a focus on cybersecurity resources, which can be beneficial for wastewater utility staff or system operators. Before I start, I wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to quickly go over some housekeeping stuff. This webinar will be presented on the GoToWebinar platform. For those that have not used GoToWebinar before, you should see a console similar to the what I have to the screenshot I have shown on the slide. There's a question section where you'll be able to submit any questions you might have throughout the webinar, which we will review at the end. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions throughout the webinar. The webinar will also be recorded and will be uploaded to our wateropera.org YouTube channel once the webinar is over. We have not applied for any operator credits, but we'll be more than happy to offer you a certificate of attendance or help you complete any forms required by your state privacy agency or certification body. If you are interested, please check out the hands out section on the GoToWebinar platform to see the instructions for requesting a certificate. There should be a full, downloadable PDF that has instructions as well as the link, a form link where you can complete to enter your personal information. Additionally, we'll not be able to provide any certificates for watching the recording of this webinar once it's been uploaded. So this will be the quick brief outline of today's presentation. I'll start off by introducing wateropera.org while giving you an overview of, again, what kind of website it is, what are the services that it offers, and the tools that operators can use to further their knowledge on water and wastewater management and potentially help them with maintaining compliance. I'll then highlight some of the public available resources that have been developed by various organizations and show you how you can actually find these resources as well as similar resources through our website. I've done similar presentations in the past, but we've always focused on a specific topic and highlighted resources related to that topic. And for this presentation, I'll be focusing on highlighting resources related to cybersecurity. Then finally, I'll briefly discuss some of the other features that you can find on our site that is also useful. So what is wateropera.org? It's a website which we developed at the University of Illinois in collaboration with the Rural Community Assistance Partnership, RCAP, with funding from the US EPA. It serves as a clearinghouse of public available resources to help water and wastewater system operators with a focus on small systems. We have a team of staff that scour through the internet to find and collect various publicly available information and resources that we believe are useful to operators and provide a means to search and access that information easily through our website. So rather than having to sift through pages of search results on Google, we made a platform to search for relevant resources to save you time. Our website doesn't require any registration. It's free to use. You can just open up your browser, type in wateropera.org, and you can start using our website freely. Also, you might find a useful resource through Google, but you might find out that it's behind a paywall or requires membership on that website to access the resource. A lot of resources from bigger organizations like AWWA or WEF are like this. Everything you can find on our website is public available information and shouldn't require any kind of registration to or have to pay to access that information. Additionally, if operators do have trouble finding certain information, they can always call us or email us, and we also provide that service to help them find specific information they're looking for. Or we have a great network of professionals that we've worked with previously in the past, so we can try to connect you with those people that have more technical knowledge that can help you out. So how do we find these resources, and what exactly do we look for? We currently have a database of over probably close to 900 organizations, or 800 to 900 organizations, such as national organizations like EPA, AWWA, WEF, as well as individual state agency, region associations, like rural water associations, WEAs, and even vendors. Each of our staff visits their website, and we look for information on events like operators trainings, webinars, conferences, pretty much any event which will offer CUs or continuing education credits to operators, we collect the information. Even if they don't offer credits, if an event is free and useful for operators, like many EPA webinars, we'll collect the information as well. We also look for public available resources such as fact sheets, reports, manuals, past conference presentations, any kind of technical resource that can be helpful for operators, especially small system operators. We will try to focus on those. We've been searching and collecting these resources since 2009, and currently have collected over 15,000 documents, and we pretty much catalog over 11,000 events every year. So that kind of shows you how extensive our calendar tool is, and how much effort we go into to collect these resources. The website was actually first called smallwatersupply.org. If some of you older folks might have heard of that in the past, but we rebranded to wateroperator.org around 2016. The website was originally developed for operators of rural communities where they may not have had the time to search for technical resources, since in many rural communities, the operators running that facility may not have a full-time operator and can have a different full-time job. Additionally, back then there were still a lack of infrastructure providing high-speed internet to many rural areas. So we wanted to reduce the need for operators to have to download resources with large file sizes by providing a place to search for water and wastewater specific resources with short summaries, so operators can easily decide whether downloading that specific resource was worth their time. So after we collect these resources, we display the information on our calendar and library module or tool on our website. Our nationwide calendar tool is meant to help operators save time from having to search through numerous organizations' website and find all the relevant events on a single calendar. Similarly, we collect the most useful public available resources and display them on our document library. Both the calendar and library utilize an extensive search functionality, so you can easily find the information that you're looking for. I'll show you a screenshot of these along with examples later in the presentation. For each entry that we collect or catalog, we also make sure to provide a complete summary with the most important details. So for example, documents, we'll make sure to provide you a short summary of the document, as well as information on where the document was found. And for events, we make sure to give you a summary of the event, as well as complete information on the most important information like cost, how many CUs it offers, who they can contact within the training provider to get more information, and much more. We always make sure to include a link to the host organization's website, as well as credit them. We try not to host any resources ourselves unless they are resources from organizations that are no longer active, but the resource is still useful today. We always make sure to connect users to the host organization's website as well, so we try to make sure to credit them. In the past, we've heard from many operators that they've found the nationwide calendar to be an excellent tool to help find events that they never knew existed. And we've gotten calls and emails from operators saying, hey, I need to get X number of credits, or X hours of credits by the end of the month. Can you help me find some online training that I can take from my office? And we've guided them through how to use their calendar and actually help them find specific events that they can take part in. We've even had various vendors reach out to us asking to have their events featured on our website. Many times they don't usually seek pre-approval to provide CUs. So we always tell them, if you can get them approved, we'll be more than happy to list it on our calendar. Some vendors actually have gone through the time and effort to get their trainings pre-approved so they can get listed on our website, which is a great initiative in their own part. The state of Washington even requires training providers to reach out to us about new approved trainings so that we can include them on our website. And they even recommend their state operators to come to our website to find training events. There are other various state primary agencies as well that also list us in their state resource on their webpage. So it's been great that they've been so. We always appreciate whenever they give us some highlight. So this is how the front page of wateropera.org looks like. I'll go into more details on how to navigate our site later, but I just want to give you a preview of how it looks like. Since today's topic is about cybersecurity, if you go on Google and search wateropera.org, make sure this is the website that you're looking for. And again, it's just wateropera.org. There's no login required. You can just start using the tools using the menu bars at the very top. And again, if anyone needs any help, you can find our contact information at the very bottom of our website. And just to give you a highlight, all the resources highlighted today will also be searchable through our website. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we deal with a wide range of topics, and every resource we add is tagged with a specific category, which gets integrated into our search engine. Here is a kind of hard to look at, but it's a list of the categories or filters that we use to categorize every event and document that we enter into our website. I'm also a big fan of making graphics, so I really wanted to include something visual on this slide. This chart basically shows a breakdown of the categories or topics covered from around 13,000 events, which we added during 2023. It's basically there to highlight how many events that we enter and kind of shows you the types of categories or types of events that we've added. And you can tell that the most used categories operation maintenance, water, wastewater treatment, and certification prep, which isn't really surprising. One of the category listed here is also water security and emergency response, which includes the topics related to protecting utilities from threats and hazards such as natural disasters and malevolent acts, preparing for emergency response plans, conducting vulnerability assessments, and much more. So for cybersecurity, that's going to be the category that's the overarching category that covers cybersecurity. And the slide, the list of categories, the percentages again are shown here, but for this resource library, it does share the same categories as well. It's probably not the same distribution of percentages of these categories, but again, once you start using the library, you'll be able to tell what kind of documents are actually listed on our resource library. Now I'll go through some of the slides highlighting some of the resources you can find in our resource library. I mentioned earlier that I'll be focusing on highlighting cybersecurity resources. The reason I focus on cybersecurity is because recently there's been a lot more incidents where critical infrastructure such as utilities have been targets of cyber attacks, and because this presentation aligns with EPA's current program focusing on providing technical assistance to wastewater systems. Here is the overview of the types of resources I'll be covering today. Again, these will be public available resources, and the majority will focus on cybersecurity. Since cybersecurity practices for water and wastewater systems are pretty similar, many of the resources highlighted today will also be applicable to community water systems as well. The resource will range from short fact sheets that provide a basic overview of what cybersecurity is, to more technical guides which utilities can use to plan for or assess their ability to respond to incidents like ransomware attacks. Additional resources featured will help utilities become more aware and stay up to date with most recent incidents and vulnerabilities, and even funding resources to help utilities conduct assessments or enhance their cybersecurity infrastructure. Many of the resources come from federal agencies such as US EPA, Water Information Sharing and Analysis Center, or Water ISAC, and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. Additionally, resources from water and wastewater focused organizations like American Water Works Association, AWWA, are included. Actually, before I start going through those resources, I'll take a couple minutes to go over, just to give you a brief overview of what cybersecurity is, why is it important, how utilities can be impacted by these incidents, and how they can better protect themselves from these threats. So what exactly is cybersecurity? Simply, it's the practice of protecting, computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and personal data from digital attacks or damage or unauthorized access. Cyber attacks are a significant risk to many industries. As more and more devices we use get connected to internet, it provides us more convenience, but also introduces more pathways which malicious entities can use to infiltrate these systems. The goal of cybersecurity is to protect an organization's information system and data from unauthorized access, and to ensure the integrity, confidentiality and availability of information. Many of the devices we use today heavily rely on network technologies, which provide, again, a pathway for cyber attacks. Nowadays, it's kind of hard to go through our daily lives without using the devices that are connected to the internet. Majority of the population utilize communication devices with access to internet like smartphones every day. Emails and text messages, are more commonly used as a form of communication, and devices like tablets and laptops are also used daily to access the internet. Many sources of entertainment, such as social media, streaming services, also rely on network technologies. And online commerce is becoming bigger and bigger, allowing more sources of sources for attackers to gain our personal information. Even navigation systems connected to the internet are becoming more integrated, into cars. I can say for myself that if I'm ever traveling, I'm always pulling up Google Maps on my phone. Cars are even coming with pre-installed with these apps these days, connected to the internet, also allowing potentially hackers to attack your car, which is ridiculous, but it is what the current day is. And finally, utilities these days are also utilizing a variety of network devices to increase operational efficiency. These include asset management systems, SCADA systems, PLCs, RTUs, sensors, IoT devices, and even security systems. These devices provide utility the ability to monitor and control their systems in real time, but if their network isn't secure, it can provide a pathway for criminals to access and disrupt operations. These are some of the headlines that we've kind of seen pretty recently. There's been a lot more news related to cyber attacks on water and wastewater systems. Many might remember the incident back in 2021 where a water utility in Florida was targeted where attackers tried to raise the level of chemicals being used to treat their water. That was a big headline. A couple months after the incident, 2 wastewater treatment plants in Maine were targeted with ransomware attacks as well. More recently, an Iranian-backed group attacked a water utility in Pennsylvania, disrupting their monitoring and control system for water pressure, which was related to the vulnerabilities detected in the Unitronics PLCs, which are used in many water and wastewater systems. These attacks not only affect critical infrastructure, but can have a significant impact on public health as well. You might think that only large systems are going to be, the main target, but many of these hackers target small municipalities as well, since those utilities tend to be more vulnerable due to having a less secure network infrastructure, or other factors like people using poor password security or using older equipment or older systems with more vulnerabilities. This is why it's important for utilities to plan for incidents well before a cyber attack happens to them. So again, why is cybersecurity important, and what are the more common risks utilities should be aware of? Without proper cybersecurity, hackers can access critical systems like SCADA systems or industrial control ICS systems and alter commands or shut down pumps, valves, or other equipment affecting treatment processes, which can lead to public health or environmental health concerns, especially for wastewater systems. Attacks on IT infrastructure, such as servers, databases, or communication networks, can also lead to service outages, affecting the utility's ability to manage, sewage flow, chemical dosing, or other critical functions. Data breach is another concern where hackers can gain access to sensitive data, such as customer information, wastewater infrastructure schematics, operational procedures, and even personal information, which can be exploited. Ransomware attacks, which can lock critical systems, can also lead to disruptions and cause financial loss for utility. These attacks on networks, connected equipment, if unnoticed, can lead to long-term consequences such as physical damage, causing costly repairs or replacement. Non-compliance with environmental regulations due to cyber incidents can also result in fines or legal consequences. And finally, a utility's trust and reputation can also be affected if these incidents occur. Public confidence in utilities can be damaged if cyber incidents result in service interruptions, public health concerns, or data breaches. As a customer, it can be stressful to hear if your personal information was leaked during a cyber attack. So how can utilities better protect themselves from these threats and incidents from occurring? In short, utilities need to prioritize cybersecurity measures. There are some simple steps to ensure individuals or operators are following proper cybersecurity practices, and much more in-depth actions that involve, assessing their current utility cyber incident response procedures, and working as a team to ensure a robust cybersecurity plan is in place. So for utilities that do have some level of cybersecurity incident preparedness, they should, regularly plan, prepare, and conduct drills for cyber attacks and incidents as they would for any other disaster that would be included in their emergency response plan. These drills can enhance readiness and help utility staff understand how to detect incidents, what their roles are during a cyber attack, and how each person can respond effectively. It also should include who they should connect if an incident occurs. Um, should they contact their IT director, their city, who they can contact federally or within the state, and much more. Simulating cyber attacks can also help utilities identify vulnerabilities in systems and processes which may not be evident during normal operations. For those without a plan or have an outdated plan, conducting regular cybersecurity assessments can also help to identify vulnerabilities and assist in developing a risk mitigation plan. Regular training of utility staff and creating a more cybersecurity conscious culture can also aid in preventing cyber attacks from happening. These trainings can help raise awareness about potential and new threats and how to respond to them properly. In order to enhance cybersecurity, each utility staff should be trained on using stronger password, using multi-factor authentication, and making sure good cyber hygiene practices are being implemented when accessing unknown links or opening email attachments. Um, a default password, which is a standard pre-configured password for many devices and software, is also a significant security risk if unchanged, as hackers can easily get that information from manufacturers. Passwords should also always be unique and complex, harder to guess, so attackers can't really brute force and access the system. It shouldn't simply be like password 123, or use keywords like your pet names, which can be searched easily through your social media. Hackers will go through the effort to try to find out this information and try to guess passwords. Uh, Multi-factor authentication also increases security, as it eliminates the risk of hackers using stolen passwords, since it requires a second layer of protection, like using your smartphone to again provide access to certain systems, or even require fingerprint or facial recognition, which provides a second layer of protection. Making sure not every account has the same level of access is another good practice. Making sure only administrative accounts having higher access can increase security as well. And of course, each staff should be trained, again, not to open any suspicious files, go to suspicious link or click on suspicious links, and enhancing email security to reduce common email-based threats like spoofing and phishing attempts should be implemented. Regularly updating and patching systems can also ensure that vulnerabilities are being implemented or vulnerabilities are being fixed. Those pesky Windows updates that constantly pop up are still important and shouldn't be ignored, as it could contain important security updates. Now I'll be going over various resources developed by federal agencies and cybersecurity experts, which utilities can use to enhance their cybersecurity knowledge and practices. So the first resource I want to cover is our more basic information on cybersecurity and cybersecurity planning. So the first resource here is a guide from Water ISAC. Water ISAC is a nonprofit, which I believe they started earlier in 2002, and they are meant for water and wastewater sector. They serve as a central clearinghouse for threats to the water sector and works with a lot of utilities and federal partners to enhance the security of utilities by providing information and tools for preventing, detecting, responding to, and recovering from all hazards, including cyber attacks. They collect threat information from government and private sources, and they also share relevant information to their members through email notifications. Utilities can also report incidents directly to Water ASAC as well. They have a wealth of information on protecting critical infrastructure, including this 15 cybersecurity fundamentals for water and wastewater utilities guide. It's a 56-page guide that contains a list of best practices grouped into 15 main categories that water and wastewater systems can implement to reduce security risks to their IT and OT system. I also mentioned IT and OT earlier, but just to give you a brief background, information technology, or IT, is the technology backbone of any organization. IT is necessary for developing, managing, and providing applications for computer equipment. networks, software, and any kind of system that requires internet connectivity. IT security is especially vital to keep an organization's data secure and making sure uh, it's protected properly. It also helps organizations um, keep sensitive data safe, making sure users are connected to the internet securely, and helps to detect and prevent any potential cyber attacks. Operational technology, or OT, uses hardware and software to manage a utilities industrial equipment and systems such as SCADA systems and PLCs. OT security makes sure that controls and measures are in place to protect those systems from cyber threats. IT and OT networks constantly face threats from cyber attacks, and when compromised, can have a big impact on utility. So this guide provides the recommendations such as performing, asset inventories, developing a cybersecurity policy, addressing smart devices, how to plan for an incident, how to protect from unauthorized physical access, for remote field devices that you might not be checking every day. Each of these recommendations is detailed and accompanied by links with additional technical resources, giving utilities the information and tool needed to take a deeper dive into developing their own cybersecurity program. The guide will also help to create a more cybersecurity conscious culture and help to develop a cyber incident response plan as well. The next resource is from US EPA. EPA has a comprehensive drinking water and wastewater resilience program with a dedicated program specifically for cybersecurity. EPA works closely with other federal agencies and the water sector to help promote sharing of information and resources aimed to enhance the water sector's resilience against cyber threats. They provide resources to help utilities prevent cybersecurity incidents, and they do encourage adoption of strategies for detecting cyber threats. They also offer various services to help water systems respond to cyber attacks and how to recover from them when they get targeted. They do regularly host cybersecurity related trainings through virtual and in-person class formats, and also does provide funding options to help utilities increase their cyber resilience. They have various public available resources specifically targeted towards utilities, which many of will be highlighted today. So starting off, this resource is one of EPA's incident response or incident action checklists. They have a series of checklists intended to help utilities with emergency preparedness, response, and recovery activities. I believe they have around 12. I can't remember, but they have one specifically for cybersecurity, which is shown right here. It's a 6-page checklist that's divided into 3 separate checklists, which can be used to identify actions to prepare for a cyber incident. It lists actions to respond to a cyber incident, and one of the checklists, again, is used to list actions to recover from a cyber incident. They're intended to be printed out and be used by utility personnel to better prioritize certain tasks to prepare for cyber attacks and to be used during this actual incident. There's also a contact sheet template, which utilities can enter personalized information like key contact personnel, who should they contact when a cyber incident occurs. Just having that kind of sheet readily available within a utility can streamline the process of responding to cybersecurity incidents quickly. This checklist is very useful. It's meant to be printed out, used by utility staff on hand, and even for training your staff on what tasks need to be completed during a cybersecurity preparedness training or during a cybersecurity assessment. This checklist can be useful during those. The next resource comes from CISA, and it was actually developed between FEMA and CISA. So FEMA, in collaboration with CISA, provides guidance and resources to help organizations better protect themselves against cyber attacks and helps them to respond effectively when interruptions occur. You might have heard about CISA much more now that cybersecurity has become a more popular topic, but CISA is or as they describe themselves, is the operational lead for federal cybersecurity and the national coordinator for critical infrastructure security and resilience. They lead a national effort to help organizations understand, better manage, and reduce the risk to cyber and physical infrastructure that Americans rely on every day, including water utilities. They offer various resources and services to help organizations build a more cyber resilience system. This resource showing on this slide is a 57-page guidance document, which was created to provide state, local, tribal, or even utility emergency managers with information on cyber incidents to increase cyber preparedness efforts within their jurisdiction, and a list of recommendations on how to plan for and respond to cyber incidents. Some of you might be thinking, what exactly is an emergency manager? They have the responsibility of coordinating all components of emergency management programs and activities for a community when emergency or disaster occurs. They usually manage resources and coordinates with various partners to ensure that proper emergency management processes do happen. Since emergency managers are usually responsible for coordinating the development of a cyber incident response plan, this guide kind of aims at helping them better understand their roles and developing an effective plan. So the document includes examples for a compromised water system and what tasks an emergency management will need to complete, such as coordinated communication efforts between jurisdictions, coordinating with cyber authorities, notifying the public, what tasks utility staff should have to complete, and much more. The guide also includes a 6-step cyber incident planning guide, which is a comprehensive plan that involves all key stakeholders like IT directors, the police chief, public works director, utility representatives, and even local federal response partners. And it ensures that a holistic and effective response is executed. The guide details how cyber incidents should be notified among stakeholders, how to determine when incidents are over, as well as additional resources related to cyber incident management. If your utility or local jurisdiction does have an emergency manager, it's recommended to maintain a good relationship with them so that when incidents do occur, utilities know who they can reach out to locally. EPA also has an emergency response plan template specifically for wastewater systems that include a cybersecurity component to help them better be prepared for when incidents occur. If utilities currently has a emergency response plan, which does not include a cybersecurity component, this document can help to identify additional components to add to their existing plan. The ERP template itself is a 25-page, or template itself is 25 pages, and it includes a table, with examples on how to respond to cyber attacks, such as disconnect procedures for compromised equipment, who should be notified, such as IT staff, emergency managers, federal or state partners, how to assess any damages to the utility, procedures to restore critical processes, how to provide public notification if that's necessary, and additional forms to be completed to be used as to document key information when incidents do occur. That is if you look at the screenshot on the left, that's the examples that's shown within the template. There's also a 14-page guidance document that accompanies the emergency response plan template, which includes instructions on how to access and use the ERP template, an overview of each section of the ERP, and it provides what kind of critical information that should be included. They're all outlined. Tips for cyber attack mitigation strategies, cyber attack detection methods, and response procedures are also included. Just to note, if you do have difficulties accessing the template through this guidance document, which is shown on the right screenshot, on the second page of the document, you'll see a Word document icon, how to use this template. If you click on the icon, it will automatically open the emergency response template. You will need to download the PDF of the 14-page guide to actually open the PDF, to open the template, because it requires a PDF reader to be able to access that template. EPA also has developed a variety of tabletop exercise tools, or TTX tools, for water and wastewater utilities. And they provide resources to create a customizable hazard situation to help develop situational manuals, as well as test existing emergency response plan and procedures against various hazard scenarios related to emergency preparedness, one of which is cybersecurity focus. It's a tool that's meant to help utility staff identify, which areas of their response plan should be improved, what should be fixed, how effective is their response plan when an actual incident occurs. During the exercise, participants will better understand what the utility's responsibilities are during an emergency, as well as the other response partners' roles, individual staff roles, and responsibilities, which are outlined in a response procedures. And it also helps to identify strength and shortfalls of a emergency response plan. Um, and it's a great tool. Regular exercise such as this will ensure proper stakeholders are involved in the training and new concept information are shared between partners and incorporated in a response plan. Each scenario is provided with steps and resources to help the user develop an effective exercise, but the tool does require an experienced facilitator who can encourage, in-depth discussion and help participants to make decisions through slow-paced problem solving. EPA is currently holding state-specific virtual training opportunities on cybersecurity overviews and how to exactly use this tool and to develop a training program. The screenshot to the right is their cybersecurity training page and currently lists all their training names. And I've also didn't mention this earlier, but all these resources do have the links to access those resources listed on the spreadsheet or on the presentation. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, please feel free to email me at the end of this webinar. I'll have my contact information at the very end of the slide, and I'll be more than happy to give you a copy of the presentation. Or again, you can wait till the webinar is uploaded to our YouTube channel. AWWA also has developed some essential planning resources, such as the Water Sector Cybersecurity Risk Management Guidance document, which is a 58-page guidance document that provides step-by-step guidance for protecting process control systems used by the water sector from cyber attacks. The document is intended to help community water systems comply with AWIA, which requires all community water systems serving more than 3,300 to conduct and certify a risk and resilience assessment and to have an emergency response plan. But again, since much of the content is applicable for wastewater systems as well, I've included this resource in this presentation. The guidance document itself also mentions wastewater several times, so it should be still applicable for wastewater utilities. The guidance documents includes detailed lists of recommended cybersecurity practice and how they can implement improvement projects. AWWA also has an accompanying assessment tool, the Water Sector Cybersecurity Risk Management Tool, which is an interactive tool that helps utilities examine how they're using various technologies. And based on the answers, it generates an Excel spreadsheet with customized list of critical controls, which can be used to prioritize, identifying cybersecurity vulnerabilities. It is recommended that users start with the guidance documents and review the content listed in Appendix C, which provides the list of questions asked during the assessment with additional details. For example, one of the controls listed is job-specific security training, including incident response training for employees. This means that if a utility has a cybersecurity training program that educates their staff on how to identify potential cyber attacks, if utilities don't have a training program in place or written response procedures, this would be a control that a utility should focus on and try to implement. AWWA also has a small systems guide, or cybersecurity small systems guide, which is designed to help small and rural utilities improve their cybersecurity practices. This guide should, again, use along with the interactive assessment tool. This interactive assessment tool itself has 100 individual cybersecurity controls, which is kind of intimidating to have to go through all of them. But only 28 of those are considered baseline controls, which small and rural utilities should focus on. So the small systems guide will go through those individual controls, the only 28 of them, and provide details on what each control means, with examples on how small and rural utilities can fix their current cybersecurity procedures to better protect themselves. The guide also includes 7 additional screening questions, which will provide a more logical and stepwise process for small utilities to scale up their cybersecurity practices. For those that are looking for resources related to cybersecurity assessments, there are various public available tools to help utilities assess their system. A cybersecurity assessment is a comprehensive evaluation to better understand the cyber risks to an organization's operation, asset, or even personnel. The process includes examining security controls, understanding how they stack up against known vulnerabilities, and testing the effectiveness of an organization's cyber defense. These assessments also provide insight regarding cyber risks and vulnerabilities and can help to improve your overall cybersecurity and resilience. CISA offers the Cyber Security evaluation tool, or the CSET tool, which is a desktop software tool that guides asset owners and operators through a step-by-step process to evaluate, industrial control systems and IT network security practices to help identify vulnerabilities. The tool also includes the Cyber Performance Goals Assessment, which outlines high priority cybersecurity goals and actions which can help operators to evaluate their cybersecurity posture. The assessment itself includes common set of protections that all critical infrastructure entities, from large to small, should implement to reduce the likelihood and impact of known risk and adversary techniques. These performance goals can also help small and medium-sized organizations help start their cybersecurity efforts by prioritizing specific investments which will return the highest impact security outcomes. The newest version of this tool now also includes a ransomware readiness assessment as well. So it's a very comprehensive tool. CISA also offers various video tutorials on how to use this tool, and they do regularly host in-person and virtual trainings, which again highlights how to use this tool and how this tool can be used to help organizations' cybersecurity. EPA also has several tools to help utilities assess their cybersecurity. One of them is the Water Cybersecurity Assessment Tool, which is a downloadable spreadsheet that serves as a self-assessment tool for water and wastewater systems to evaluate their cybersecurity practices. It serves kind of like a checklist, which contains the basic cybersecurity controls needed by utility to build a strong cybersecurity program. And it also helps utilities to identify gaps or potential vulnerabilities in their current cybersecurity practices. The checklist covers topics like, account security, which includes evaluating, how are passwords managed, how's your network protection looking, are devices secure, which, do you guys require approval before installing new software, or whether a utility has an inventory of OT and IT network assets. A lot of those kind of device related security, data security, response and recovery actions, vulnerability management are all other topics that are included. It might kind of sound a lot, but there's really only 8 topics, and each topic at most has 7 questions. So it's a very good starting checklist that's easier to implement even for a system that has low resources. The tool also includes a section to develop a risk mitigation plan, which incorporates results from the checklist to help utilities identify tasks that they should prioritize to take to address the risks which they found during the checklist. Circuit writers and technical assistance providers can also use this tool to help struggling utilities to develop a more robust cybersecurity program or even a risk mitigation plan. Another tool EPA offers is the Vulnerability Self-Assessment Tool, or the VSAT tool, which is an online and downloadable risk and resilience assessment tool. The online tool utilizes a series of questions to help utilities identify, again, the highest risk to their utility, and it also helps find cost-effective measures to reduce those risks and increase resilience. The tool also includes the Utility Resilience Index, which is a way for utilities to kind of assess their capability in responding to and recovering from an index. It also includes a qualitative risk assessment to help utilities identify which asset categories are the most susceptible to malevolent acts or even natural hazards. Additionally, a quantitative risk assessment is also available, which for each asset category to help assign like a threat value to those assets from, again, malevolent acts and natural hazards. The tool now also includes two additional scenarios for cybersecurity, which are cell tower attacks and ransomware attacks. So utilities can kind of assess how their utility would respond against those kind of incidents. The tool can also perform countermeasure analysis to evaluate potential improvement strategies and assess how they would affect the likelihood of threats from occurring, and also helps them to estimate the vulnerability of certain assets becoming damaged if certain threats occur. The tool does include a tutorial overview as well as tips to help users streamline the process. I believe EPA also hosts webinars from time to time of how to use this tool, which can also help utilities better understand how they can implement this tool within their cybersecurity program. For utilities that need assistance with developing a cybersecurity program or assessment, both EPA and CISA offer assistance to utilities. EPA manages the Cybersecurity Technical Assistance Program, which allows primacy agencies, water and wastewater utilities, circuit riders, and TAPs to submit a request for consultation regarding cybersecurity. Utilities can also submit cybersecurity related questions and receive one-on-one, even remote assistance either by phone or email um, from a cybersecurity subject expert. Experts can also provide assistance with completing cybersecurity assessments and also help utilities develop a cyber action plan focused on best practices to prepare for, respond to, and recover from cyber incidents. The form to request assistance is shown on the left screenshot. CISO also offers a free cyber vulnerability scanning service, which is a no-cost vulnerability scanning subscription to help utilities identify and address cybersecurity weaknesses. The service helps utilities identify, internet accessible assets and maybe potential vulnerabilities to those assets. And they provide a weekly report in the form of a scan or scanning status, also recommendations for mitigating identified vulnerabilities, and they'll provide continuous scanning for new vulnerabilities as well. CISA has a 2-page fact sheet on their scanning service, which is shown on the right screenshot here. It again outlines the services they offer, how it could be beneficial, and how exactly they can get started with getting the service implemented. Now I'll highlight some resources that can help utilities with how to respond when certain cyber attacks occur. CISA has recently published this incident response guide for water and wastewater sector, which is a 27-page guidance document which outlines how utilities can expect to work with federal partners as they prepare for, respond to, and mitigate the impact of a cyber attack or cyber incident. The guide aims to enhance the water sector cybersecurity by, outlining clear guidelines for reporting cyber incidents. For example, contacting vendors for impacted devices, reporting to state primacy agencies if that's a requirement for, individual states, or contacting individual state fusion centers if that is available, and reporting to CISA or FBI at the federal level if incidents do occur. The guide also highlights additional cybersecurity resources services, such as the CISA and FBI offers technical analysis and support to utilities, and the guide also provides sources of cybersecurity trainings from various federal agencies as well. The guide itself will help utilities to build a stronger cybersecurity baseline to improve their cyber resilience and cyber hygiene, and helps to build a more defensible network architecture and reduce the chance of becoming an easy target. The guide also encourages utilities to integrate themselves into their local cyber communities, if that is also again available, which helps utilities to engage with existing groups, share information, and get the contact information of local offices that it helps enhance and raise cybersecurity awareness. Many of these cybersecurity incidents are in the form of ransomware attacks. For those that aren't aware, a ransomware attack is a type of a cyber attack where malicious software is used to encrypt a victim's data. The attacker usually then demands ransom, usually in the form of cryptocurrency, to decrypt or return that data. These data can range from operational data, to even customer billing data or even personal operator data. These malicious softwares are often installed onto your device or computer through a phishing email, or by clicking on a malicious website, or clicking on a link on a malicious website. Once the software is ran, it encrypts certain files or user files, making them basically inaccessible without a decryption key. Attackers will then often demand ransom if the victim wants their data back, or they might even threaten to release that certain sensitive data to the public. So how can utilities prevent these ransomware attacks and be better prepared? CISA has several ransomware prevention and response resources, including the hashtag Stop Ransomware Guide webpage and the I've Been Hit by a Ransomware webpage. The Stop Ransomware Guide page includes two primary resources. the ransomware and data extortion prevention best practices, and the ransomware and data extortion response checklist. So the first resource provides guidance to help reduce the impact and likelihood of ransomware incidents and data extortion from happening, including best practices to prepare for, prevent, and mitigate these incidents. The second resource includes a checklist on best practices for responding if these incidents do occur. The second web page, I've been hit by a ransomware web page, will guide users through the response process from, detecting what system was affected, containing and isolating those systems, so there's so other systems won't potentially get infected, and eradicate how to eradicate that problematic software that has encrypted your data. It serves as a checklist to detect and analyze impacted systems and provides information on, again, reporting and notification, how to contain the incident, and working towards eradicating the issue and recovery procedures. Since reporting these incidents when they occur has been brought up, EPA has a one-page fact sheet outlining who utilities should contact depending on what kind of incidents occur. For example, if utilities receive threats of a cyber attack, they should report that to the FBI. If a utility experiences, a cybersecurity incident, they can either report it to CISA, which offers a 24/7 response portal to receive technical assistance or to reduce the impact of the incident, or utilities can also contact EPA, who will act as a centralized federal point of contact between the affected party and all appropriate federal agencies incorporated in the incident's response. The fact sheet also outlines the importance of reporting cyber incidents, as it helps federal agencies to quickly deploy resources and provide assistance to victims. It also provides them the opportunity to analyze incoming threats to, identify and stop trends of certain vulnerabilities and quickly share that information with network defenders. The fact sheet also outlines when utilities should report to federal agencies, what kind of information include, they should let them know, if there was an unauthorized access to a utility system, if that was detected, when you receive an email or mobile message, that's kind of associated with phishing attempts, and even when ransomware incidents or potential ransom incidents occur, since that'll give EPA or other federal agencies, again, I've noticed the trends, the new kind of ransomware software that they're using, and new updated information. So how can utilities stay up to date with current trends and cybersecurity vulnerabilities? EPA regularly hosts webinars covering various topics, including cybersecurity. For example, when hackers targeted the Pennsylvania water utility through the Unitronics PLC exploitation, EPA hosted a 34-minute webinar with representatives from the FBI and CISA to provide, important updates, including recommended mitigation procedures and cybersecurity best practices utilities can implement to better protect themselves from this threat. EPA announced this webinar through their email newsletter, so signing up for their email list can provide up-to-date information about these incidents. The link listed next to the EPA's National Cybersecurity Awareness System on the slide will take you to the page where you can sign up for their alerts. Water ISAC also provides prompt cybersecurity alerts, but it does require membership to receive those notices. But I have noticed that they do provide the quickest response or alerts. CISA also has various pages which provide updated information regarding cybersecurity incidents and vulnerabilities. The cybersecurity alerts and advisories page provide alerts such as, new vulnerabilities published by vendors, or including ICS vendors. It provides an in-depth analysis of new or evolving cyber threats, and even reports covering specific cybersecurity issues, which includes, indicators of compromises and mitigation strategies. The cybersecurity bulletins page provides weekly summaries of new vulnerability that CISA has found, as well as patches to those affected systems. The cybersecurity known exploited vulnerability catalog is another web page, which is a great resource. It provides a list of vulnerabilities which have been exploited in the past. So, if you've never used any of these resources, it might be a good idea to check to see if any of the software or systems or equipment you use does show up in the vulnerabilities catalog, because um, that'll give you an idea of how many of systems might be compromised, and how you can quickly fix those issues. EPA also created 5 case studies highlighting how different size water and wastewater utilities approached with improving cybersecurity at their utility, and kind of highlights the driving forces which pushed them to do so. There were these are 2-page case studies, and EPA has 5 of them. One of them, which is for a small wastewater system, one of them is for a medium combined system, and one for a large combined system. The other 2 are more drinking water focused, so I didn't include it in this presentation. Each case study provides an overview of why the system decided they needed to improve their cybersecurity program, and it highlights the approach that they took to identify vulnerabilities and the lessons learned from each utility throughout their improvement process. For example, the small water system fact sheet details how the plant operator had to balance the cybersecurity risks after their new wastewater treatment plant had all of its mechanical operations automated. The utility decided to implement enhanced internet capabilities such as VPNs to ensure that they can securely access the SCADA system. And they also implemented multi-factor authentication for logging onto those systems to increase security. The medium larger system case study includes more comprehensive steps they took, which are all outlined in a table. These case studies can help utilities learn the steps taken by other utilities, and kind of makes them understand it's not really that complicated to implement these cybersecurity processes. For many utilities, cyber attacks can result in financial legal responsibilities or liabilities, especially if the attack compromises, a wastewater system's ability to effectively and safely treat wastewater, or for water systems to provide, clean, safe drinking water, equipment or infrastructure upgrades. If or if those happen, obviously you would want to upgrade your network equipment or infrastructure upgrades, but to eliminate those vulnerabilities. But for some utilities, that might be, or they might experience financial difficulties in order to upgrade their infrastructure. Luckily, the Clean Water SRF, or the State Revolving Fund, can be leveraged to develop effective cybersecurity practices and measures at publicly owned treatment works. The Clean Water SRF program, and each state offers low interest loans for water quality projects. Each state should have an intended use plan document which outlines how these funds can be utilized. So those that are interested should seek out their state Clean Water SRF programs to determine whether cybersecurity related projects are eligible in their state and participate in the annual process that determines which projects are funded. This 2-page fact sheet from EPA highlights how the Clean Water SRF program, or what the Clean Water SRF is, and how that program can be utilized to receive funds, which can potentially be used for cybersecurity related projects. These can include utilizing funds to complete vulnerability assessments and an emergency response plan, using funds to develop training programs related to cybersecurity awareness, or using funds to finance equipment and upgrade technology such as computer softwares and SCADA systems. The Department of Homeland Security also has a cybersecurity grant program specifically for state and local governments. This funding helps eligible entities address cybersecurity risks and threats to information systems owned or operated by or on behalf by the state or territorial governments. Currently, a total of $1 billion will be available over 4 years during fiscal year 2022 to 2025 to support projects such as implementing cyber governance and planning, assess and evaluate system and capabilities, mitigating prioritized issues, and to help build a more cyber secure workforce. CISA has 2 resources: the State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program fact sheet and a frequently asked question document, which outlines the goals and objectives of the grant program, including eligibility, funding guidelines, and detailing the application process. The FAQ document also answers general program questions like, what can the grants be used for, what it can't be used for, how planning committees should prioritize individual projects, and how local governments can apply, and much more. You can find detailed information on each state agency's websites, um, since again, this funding is more for state governments. But for individual utilities, again, it's recommended to check your state agency's website, see how the state's utilizing this grant program, and see if it could be beneficial for them. For example, since we're based out of Illinois, Illinois received $4 million to spend on through this grant to spend on initiatives for global cybersecurity improvements, such as developing an information sharing and analysis center for local governments and rural entities, which will provide information, up-to-date information, and share best practices related to cybersecurity. They're also planning on expanding their existing Cyber Navigator program to provide more risk assessments and share information on platforms and tools that locals can access. And also, they're also going to be providing endpoint detection for 24/7 continuous monitoring, alerting, as well as additional basic cybersecurity training manuals. So it's a great program for each state. And again, I do recommend each utility check out how their state is utilizing this grant. Finally, since I highlighted a lot of like fact sheets and guidance manuals, I also wanted to feature some video resources that are publicly available. As mentioned earlier, EPA runs various webinars which are often recorded and available on their YouTube channel. The Cybersecurity 101 training for water system webinar is a good example. It's a 30-minute webinar recording which provides an overview of basic cybersecurity concepts, which were also covered today. This recording can be used to introduce inexperienced utility staff with basic strategies for protecting their assets, and can also be used as part of an annual cybersecurity training program. The Cybersecurity Assessment Training for Water and Wastewater System is another webinar recording from EPA, but provides a much more comprehensive information about cybersecurity. It's an hour and 40 minutes long, so it's a very long webinar, but it demonstrates how to use the Water Cybersecurity Assessment tool, the WCAT tool, which was shown earlier in the presentation, and how to use that tool to conduct cybersecurity assessments. The webinar itself covers every single question asked during the tool meticulously, and they review it. So it's a great resource to use while, if you're using that tool to complete a cybersecurity assessment. CISA also has a YouTube channel focused specifically on their cybersecurity evaluation tool, or the CISA tool, and has several videos guiding users on how to use and complete the assessment. CISA also has a very short video titled 4 Easy Ways to Stay Safe Online, which highlights tips utility staff and the public can implement to stay safe online. Various organizations like State Privacy Agency, Water ISAC, AWWA, WEF also has videos to support cybersecurity practice, which weren't included today, but it's a great idea to seek out and see what other resources are available from those other organizations. Additionally, there are so much more resources that weren't covered today, but I hope some of these were new to you and can help your utility address your cybersecurity shortcomings and help to enhance your cybersecurity program. Now that I've introduced those resources, I'll quickly give you a tour of our website and guide you through how to find some of the resources which we covered today. So once again, this is our homepage, and you can navigate through our website from our main menu bar at the very top. If you are looking to find resources like, again, the fact sheets and guidebooks covered today, you can hover your cursor over to the resource library menu at the very top, which will then give you an additional drop-down menu. From there, you can select document search listed under search for documents, which will take you to our document library page. Once you get to the search for documents page, you will see a search module with a drop-down and keyword filter text box. If you click on the drop-down option, it will ask you to select a specific filter, which will be used to populate the library. The 4 filters are categories, which are a series of water and wastewater related categories, which are showed earlier on the pie chart. You can also search using type, which represents the types of resources that you're looking for. For example, fact sheets, manuals and presentations, videos, software, and much more. The state filter would be used to search for state-specific resources, such as resources developed by maybe a state privacy agency or state-specific organization, or maybe resources focusing on a certain state, like state-specific case studies. And finally, host, which would be the host organization, which is the organization that developed the certain resource or is hosting it. So let's say you're looking for, you're looking to find documents geared towards cybersecurity emergency response. Well, you can click on a category, which will then produce a list of the water and wastewater categories or what water and wastewater related categories, which is shown on this slide. If you scroll through, you will see that one of the categories is water security emergency response plan. Now, if you select that and press retrieve documents, it'll start populating the library with security and emergency response related resources. And as shown here, the search results have been populated. And in this example, it gave us a total number of records of 1,200, basically. That's a lot of resources. It also shows that it also lists that's showing pages 1 out of 122. So just a note, each result page only shows 10 search results. There is a next page and previous page options to cycle through the different pages or to jump to the different pages, but again, it will only show 10 search results at once. So in this case, there's way too many documents to go through or too many results to go through. So we need to figure out a way to kind of make the results smaller. If that were the case, you can refine your search even more by adding another filter. If you look at the search model, there's now an option to add a second drop-down menu where you can add a additional filter. So for this example, let's say we're looking for US EPA's various cybersecurity related resources. You can now select host in the second filter option, which will then give you a list of organizations which have emergency response and security related resources. You might notice that when you select the second filter, the drop-down options might be significantly less than if you were using that filter by itself as the original filter. Since this module uses a nested filter function, the second and third filter options takes into account of the previous filters to more efficiently provide users with search results. Now that once you click US EPA and click on retrieve documents again, you'll see that the search results have been refined and we only have 259 results left. Again, that's still a little bit too much, so we can refine our search results even more. You can either add a third filter of either resource type or state. So if you know the type of resource you're looking for, like fact sheets, or you're looking for a video, you can use that filter, or you can search for you can use the state filter to search for state-specific resources, like, again, case studies, which I mentioned earlier. In which case you can then choose the state filter. If there are certain search criteria that aren't covered within the category filters offered, you can also search using the keyword filter as well. So for this example, since we want to look more for cybersecurity resources, we can enter cybersecurity as a keyword. Or similar terms like cyber attack, cybersecurity assessment, any term I think of that's related to cybersecurity, you can enter it into the keyword box to refine our search even more. Now, if we enter cybersecurity into the keyword filter and retrieve documents again, it has refined our search result to 30 resources, which is much more manageable to go through. And if you start going through the list, you'll be able to notice or find the resources which are highlighted today, such as the Cybersecurity 101 webinar, which is shown at the very bottom of the screenshot. And if you notice, for each search result, we do make sure to include a brief summary of the resource, as well as where we found it, the repository link or the page where we found the resource, which will give you the opportunity to find similar resources, as well as the link to the host organization. We always do this to make sure we're crediting that organization themselves, so we're not stealing any of their information. We always link back to the host organization. If we didn't care about a specific host organization and just want to see all the cybersecurity resources we have on our library, you can just utilize the keyword box rather than using any of the drop-down filters options. So if we just search for cybersecurity, we get a results of 99 resources that are available. I also mentioned that our nationwide calendar earlier, where we display all the water and wastewater related events that we have collected from various organizations. Again, we mainly focus on collecting information on events that offer CUs or is free, and this tool is meant to help operators have an easier time finding training opportunities. Again, compared to having to go check out 10 different training providers' websites. You can access the calendar tool by click on the events calendar option button on the menu bar at the very top, which will bring you to a new page with an empty calendar and a search filter or search module similar to the document search tool. You can populate the calendar by selecting the appropriate filters. We again have category, which are the water and wastewater related categories. Type, in which case are the types of events that you're looking for, such as trainings, workshops, webinars, conferences, even certification exams. There's also a state filter, which is the state the event is taking place in, or is the state that the training credits are approved in, if available. And sponsor, which is the organization sponsoring the event. In general, we find that most operators we hear from are generally just use the state filter to search for events, since their priority is finding events approved within their state. But since many federal agencies offer webinars on cybersecurity, for this example, let's select type as the filter so the calendar only shows webinars. Once you select webinar live online as the training type, it'll automatically populate the calendar with various trainings or various events that are currently available. As you can tell just from the screenshot, there's a lot of webinars opportunities. Normally, it usually lists the full event name, but since there's so many events listed per day, the name's been shrunk to just show the acronym of the organization that's hosting the event. But once we find the search more and less events are shown, it will show you the full event name. So in this case, we should definitely use a separate filter to refine our search to make, because again, this is way too overwhelming to look at. So let's say we want to search for webinar opportunities from, again, EPA. We can now select sponsor as a second drop-down filter. And if you search through the list, you will find EPA. And once you select that filter, you'll notice that the event shown in the calendar has reduced drastically. And we only see one event currently listed, which is titled Water and Wastewater Sector Threat Briefing. So just by looking at that, it doesn't really tell us much about what kind of event it is. But if you click on the event name, it'll open up a new window which will include more information. So let's say we clicked on this event. Now we see this new window pop up that has much more information. We try to make sure to display all the relevant information, such as the dates, times, location for in-person trainings, what exactly is covered during the training webinar or course, contact information to the training provider, how much it costs, and it's not shown on this page, but there is also CU information at the very bottom for events that offer CUs, as well as the links to go to actually register for this webinar. Now, for this example, one event is kind of underwhelming to look at. So if we go back to the calendar and try to search for just cybersecurity related events, we can do that by, again, using the keyword box and entering specific cybersecurity terms. You can also search using the category Water Security Emergency Response Plan category, but I tried that earlier, and again, it does show you a lot more trainings that are available. So, and those include, cybersecurity, or not just cybersecurity, but including, responding to hazards as well. So, in this case, it would be best to just use the keyword search term. And so once we remove the original filters, which you can do by clicking on the clear filter box listed under the keyword box, you can enter cybersecurity and press go to populate the calendar once again. Now we can see much more events from other organizations related to cybersecurity or has a cybersecurity component within their training. You can additionally filter the search by implementing, a state filter to locate events that are taking place in your state or approved in your state. If anyone needs help finding certain events or documents, they can always reach out to us as well, and we'll try to usually help you find specific events and resources that will help you out. For example, recently we've gotten several calls about resources available to help Illinois operators prepare for the Class A certification exam, since there are barely any resources available from Illinois-based organizations. So our staff went through looking around for certification prep material from other states that share similar certification requirements, and looked for any, surface water treatment related courses that might be helpful for the person that called us. Um, So again, we'll be more than happy to help help out any operators that needs services like that. So those are the two tools that are the most popular in wateropera.org. I also wanted to briefly go over some of the other tools that you can also find on our website. First is our blog page, where we highlight recent news, or where we focus on a single topic and showcase resources related to that topic, which can also be found through our library tool. On the side, there are categories which users can click on to filter specific blog post categories. One of the topics that is listed is security. So if you click on it, it'll only show blog posts covering security topics, including cybersecurity. Shown here is an example of a blog post which highlights the cybersecurity incident that occurred back in Florida in 2021, where it includes a summary of what exactly happened, and it also links to EPA cybersecurity best practices resources page, which includes many of the resources which were covered today. We also have 3 newsletters that we send out monthly or bi-weekly electronically. The first is our most popular standard water operator biweekly newsletter, where we highlight recent news, upcoming free events, as well as some of the resources found in our library. We have the Innovations for Small Systems newsletter as well, which is our monthly newsletter where we highlight recent news on innovations in water and wastewater management with a focus on small systems, as well as recent publications such as research papers or journals. And finally, our third tribal newsletter, which is geared more towards our operators of tribal communities. All of these newsletters covers drinking water and municipal wastewater topics. These 2 screenshots shown here are newsletters from the October and December 2023 issue, where we highlight the Cybersecurity Awareness Month with tips to enhance cybersecurity and information about the Unitronics PLC hack. So we'll make sure to, if any of these big headlines do occur, to include the information in our newsletters as well. You can get to our newsletter page through the top menu bar on our wateropera.org website, and you can also see our past archives there. Though I will note that we're currently going through the process of transitioning our newsletter service provider, so more of our recent newsletter archive won't be available until we make that switch, which we are hopefully we're hoping to complete by spring of 2024. We are also in the process of developing a self-paced course on cybersecurity in collaboration with Massachusetts DP. It'll be a free, roughly 1-hour training that will be designed for Massachusetts operators, but we'll be able to provide certificates to anyone interested. The class will be pre-approved for Massachusetts operators. We are expecting to have the course live again by spring of 2024. We'll make sure to announce this in our newsletter as well, but the trainings will be available through our classes.wateropera.org webpage. So that concludes our presentation today. If you get a chance to use wateropera.org and run into any questions, please feel free to contact me or my supervisor, Steve Wilson. Our emails and phone numbers are shown here. Or if you scroll again down to the bottom of our website, you can find our contact information as well. If you'd like a copy of the presentation so you can easily access the resources mentioned today, I'll be more than again happy to send you that copy of the presentation if you send me an email. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak to you all. I guess we'll go to our question and answer session if we have any.
There's one question so far. What is an example of patching? Is this an IT term?
Patching is definitely an IT term. It's usually for, again, it's mainly to update your system's software, especially if a vulnerability has been detected. That's probably something where the specific vendor of the equipment will probably provide you the specific updates. But if you are looking for specific patches, again, looking at CISA's known vulnerability catalog will show you if there are any specific patches that you should prioritize more compared to others. But it's definitely best to reach out to your specific equipment vendor to see how to install those patches, why the patch is necessary, and to get more specific information about the patch.
We don't have any other questions at this time.
Awesome. Well, then we'll go ahead and conclude this webinar. If you do have any additional questions related to cybersecurity that pops up, we're not specifically cybersecurity experts, but we can definitely connect you to experts that will be able to answer your questions. So feel free to contact us with any of the questions you have, and we'll make sure to try to get those answered or connect you to professionals that can answer those for you. Once again, thank you for sitting on this webinar, and please look forward for the recording of this webinar once it's been uploaded. Thank you.